Welcome to the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We are located on the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. Today is the 3rd of May, 2018. It's Thursday. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, excuse me. And your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we will be reading the news for today's edition of the Fayetteville Observer.
We're going to start today with your weather, and we're going to have a warm day today. It's going to be a high of 88, mostly sunny and very warm. Tonight it's only going to drop down to 59 and mainly clear. Tomorrow, again, a high of 88, a low of 60, mostly sunny and very warm. Going to Saturday, we're going to have a high of 87, a low of 64, remaining warm with periods of sun. And Sunday, high of 86, a low of 63, clouds breaking for some sun. Going to Monday, going to have a high of 84, a low of 56. And Tuesday, an important day for us, going to have a high of 77, a low of 56, nice with clouds and rain. And Wednesday, we'll have a high of 82, a low of 57, a blend of sun and clouds on Wednesday. That's my birthday. And going to the sun and the moon, the sunrise today was at 6:23 a.m., and the sunset tonight will be at 6:02. Pardon me, that will be at 8:02 tonight, 8:02, the sun will set. And the moon rise today, we won't see the moon today. The moon set today at 9:50 a.m. and the sunrise for tomorrow will be at 6:22 a.m. Sunset Friday will be at 8:03 p.m. The last moon is May 7th, with the new moon being May 15th. First moon will be on May 21st, and our full moon will be on May 29th. There's your weather for today. Today is Thursday, May 3rd, 2018, from the Fayetteville Observer.
Today in history. Today is Thursday, May 3rd, the 123rd day of the year 2018. There are 242 days left in this year. Today's highlights: on May 3rd, 1978, Spam Email was born as Gary Thuerk, a marketing executive for the Digital Equipment Corporation of Maryland, of Maynard, Massachusetts, transmitted an unsolicited sales pitch for a new line of computers to 400 prospective customers on ARPANET, a precursor to the Internet. The stunt generated some business as well as complaints. Sunday took place on Wednesday as thousands of people extolling the virtues of solar energy held events across the country. And on today's date in history, in 1515, Pope Leo X promulgated the bull Inter Solicitudes, allowing the Catholic Church to review and censor books. On today's date in 1791, the Commonwealth of Poland-Lithuania adopted a constitution. On today's date in 1916, Irish nationalists Frederick Pierce, Thomas Clark, and Thomas MacDonough were executed by a British firing squad. They were among the 16 people put to death for their roles in the Easter Rising. On today's date in 1937, Margaret Mitchell won the Pulitzer Prize for her novel, Gone with the Wind. On today's date in 1948, the Supreme Court in Shelley v. Kramer ruled that covenants prohibiting the sale of real estate to blacks or members of the racial groups were legally unenforceable. On today's date in 1979, Conservative Party leader Margaret Thatcher was chosen to become Britain's first female Prime Minister as the Tories ousted the incumbent Labour government in parliamentary elections. And finally, on today's date in 1999, some 70 tornadoes roared across Oklahoma and Kansas, killing 46 people and injuring hundreds. And our local birthday today are our happy birthdays go to Maud Elliott and Jackie Rayner. So we say happy birthday to Maud Elliott and Jackie Rayner on the 3rd of May, 2018. Happy birthday. And the rest of the celebrity birthdays follows. Actor Alex Cord is 85. Singer Frankie Valli is 84. Sports announcer Greg Gumbel is 72. Singer Christopher Cross is 67. Country musician Cactus Mosier of Highway 101 is 61. Actor Bobby Cannavale is 48. Music and film producer and actor Damon Dash, he's 47. Country rock musician John Neff is 47. Actress Christina Hendricks is 43. Actor Dual Hill is 43. Country singer Eric Church is 41. Actress Tanya Wright is 40. Dancer Cheryl Berkey is 34. Soul singer Michael Kiwanuka is 31. Actress Zoe D. Grand Maison, she's 23 years old today. And that wraps up our celebrity birthdays for today, 3 May 2018.
Okay, and need to know. Okay, today, for our need to know, the USO of North Carolina Military Culture Workshop, the USO of North Carolina and the North Carolina Arts Council will present a free workshop for local artists and other members of the arts community on military culture basics and building programs to support military service members. The workshop will be May 19th from 10 a.m. to noon at the Arts Council of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, 301 Hay Street. Register at fayartseventsbright.com. And 2, we have a nurse candlelight walk. Cape Fear Valley Health will hold the Nurses Candlelight Walk in observance of National Nurses Week on May 10th at 7:30 p.m. on the front lawn of Cape Fear Valley Medical Center off Owen Drive. In case of rain, the event will move to the front lobby. The public, you're invited to participate. The walking course is roughly half a mile, circling the front grounds of the hospital. Free parking will be provided in the Cape Fear Cancer Center parking lot. And number 3, we have the Mount Pisgah Baptist Church's 30th Annual Spring Festival. Festival is Saturday from 10 to 4 p.m. and will include food, locally made crafts, homemade baked goods, plants, kids' games, and activities, including a bounce house, pony rides, and miniature golf. Proceeds go toward student scholarships and church projects. For more information, call the church at 485-5681. The church is at 3350 Butler Nursery Road. And number 4, we have a Spring Fest at the Westminster Presbyterian Church. Will hold its 34th annual Spring Fest fundraiser on Saturday from 7 a.m. to noon. Combination indoor-outdoor yard sale, bake sale, biscuit sale, raffle, and live auction benefits include and help Cumberland County students in need. Now, we want to hear from you, listeners. So come on now, submit your events in writing at least 10 days in advance. And you can also email your calendar at fayobserver.com or fax your details to 486-3 3545. And if you have any questioners out there, listeners, please call 486-3500.
And with your public safety for today in Cumberland County, there were several arrests made. Gay Vaughn Marquis Newhill Malloy of the 1600 block of Minerva Drive was charged Wednesday with having a gun on educational property, selling and delivering a controlled substance, and obtaining property by false pretense. Kayvon Marquis Newhill Malloy is accused of having a gun on the campus of Fayetteville State University on July 31st, 2015, and his bail was set at $1,000. Ravenna Jean Butler, age 36, of the 700 block of C.L. Tart Circle, was charged Wednesday with attempting to obtain property by false pretense. Ravenna Jean Butler, her bail was set at $5,000. Keontae DeMarcus Mitchell, age 21, of the 1000 block of Strickland Bridge Road, was charged Wednesday with obtaining property by false pretense. Keontae DeMarcus Mitchell's bail was set at $2,500. Derek Mack, age 34, of the 1900 block of Lake Francis Place, was charged Wednesday with breaking and entering with the intent to terrorize. He was charged with second-degree kidnapping and misdemeanor assault on a female. Also, misdemeanor assault on a child under the age of 12 and misdemeanor interfering with emergency communications. Derek Mack, age 34's bail was set at $52,000. Joseph Christopher Walton, age 32, of the 900 block of West Mountain Drive, was charged Tuesday with habitual larceny. Joseph Christopher Walton's bail was set at $5,000. And this wraps up your public safety in Cumberland County.
All right. Again on Daybreak, live wire from the Observer staff. The Recreation Department handles meeting in question. What city or county agency is responsible for maintaining the grass median and dogwood trees on North Churchill Drive? Tree stumps and traffic posts have been removed. Now people can cross the median to make illegal U-turns into one-way oncoming traffic. Also, there are some dead trees that need to be replaced, but the agency continues to put mulch around them once or twice a year. From AJ in Fayetteville. Answer. Fayetteville Cumberland Parks and Recreation maintains the grass median and the trees. Fayetteville spokesman Nathan Walls said in an email last week, the posts and trees should be reinstalled and planted by the end of the week. Question, what's up with the red spot on Jeb Bush's forehead? That's from MP here in Fayetteville. Answer, the live wire called MP who said she noticed a red blotch on Bush's forehead while he delivered the eulogy at the funeral of his mother, former First Lady Barbara Bush. We couldn't find any news report that mentioned or explained a red spot on Jeb Bush's forehead. That's from Roger Mullen. Now, Livewire seeks to answer your questions of general interest and consumer topics. Initials are used to identify questioners when names are given. Contact Livewire at livewire@fayobserver.com or at 486-3516.
And front page news from the Fayetteville Observer is, as the caption says, the city nets $10,000 in festival parking fees. The city of Fayetteville made $10,000 from charging people to park in the Franklin Street parking deck and 2 downtown lots during the Dogwood Festival. This was, pardon me, This was the first time the city charged during the 4-day festival, which ended Sunday, and at $10 per vehicle, the parking fees generated a total of $14,000. However, the city paid about $4,000 of that money to its parking contractor. The amount collected was a little higher than estimated. Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer said, "The parking experiment is a sign of things to come," said Christoph Bauer. Christoph Bauer said the city will now ask people to pay to park at other large events in downtown, including minor league baseball games when the Houston Astros begin to play in their new stadium on Hay Street next spring. Christoph Bauer said there was concern that the decision to charge to park at the Dogwood Festival would cause some people to stay at home. It did not seem to have any negative effect on the Dogwood Festival at all, said Christoph Bauer. If anything, it bolstered the city's plans to charge at future events. Not everyone is happy about paying $10 to park. Lynn Autry of the Bethany community voiced her opinion in the Fayetteville OBSEVER. Bethany Autry said she had read that charging for parking during the Dogwood Festival is a sign of growth. Not, said Autry, that's Lynn Autry of Bethany, it is a sign of taking advantage of good people, and it is another sign of negativity that Fayetteville does not need. The city has hired a consultant to study downtown parking issues and long-term solutions. Fayetteville employs a private company to issue tickets to people who park in free spaces for longer than the posted time. The practice loses money every year, and the city council wants to determine whether the parking options would generate revenues without keeping people away from the downtown venues, said Christoph Bauer, Deputy City Manager. The city is far from alone in its decision to charge for parking at downtown events. Greensboro, Durham, and Winston-Salem have been charging for parking for years. And unlike Fayetteville, those cities have metered parking, which charges people to park downtown all week day long. Durham has 1,000 meters that charge $1.50 an hour. Wilmington, which is much smaller than Fayetteville, has 800 parking meters that charge $1.25 an hour. If Durham's metered parking spaces stayed full 8 hours a day, the city would take in $12,000 during that period of 8 hours a day. Fayetteville charged people to park during the Dogwood Festival at the Franklin Street parking deck, the parking lot across from the deck, and the lot at Anderson and Old Streets. Now, if you would like to discuss this article with Greg Barnes, you can do so by calling him at 910-486-3525. And I'm going to tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I have a feeling that Fayetteville is soon going to have parking meters, and they're going to generate that kind of money also during the weekday. Nancy, what's up next?
All right, we're going to talk about our resource officers in the schools. They're becoming more and more important. More money and training is urged for these school officers. Gary D. Robertson from the Associated Press has written this from Raleigh. Some state legislators on Wednesday recommended mandated training for and more funds toward police officers assigned to the school campuses, as well as routine vulnerability reviews for those buildings. But the House Subcommittee examining school and student safety improvements decided that further study was needed on ideas to allow non-public schools to have armed security and on details of how law enforcement could supplement school-based officers with volunteers. The latest recommendations came after another subcommittee examining mental health and student support needs agreed last week that more school counselors, nurses, social workers, and psychologists need to be hired to align with nationally based standards. That subcommittee didn't recommend a dollar amount. Those two panels will convene to approve final recommendations next week, days before the General Assembly convenes its annual work session and would have to vote on any proposed legislation. Republican House Speaker Tom Moore directed the study following the Florida high school shooting in February that left 17 dead. Another legislative panel and Democratic Governor Roy Cooper already have offered their proposals. The important thing is we're actually taking a proactive response, said House Majority Leader John Bell of Wayne County after Wednesday's subcommittee meeting. We're actually trying to move forward and preventing these incidents from happening here. The bipartisan subcommittee recommended $1.8 million for grants so more school resource officers can be hired in public elementary and middle schools. Extending a grant program started in 2013. There were roughly 1,000 officers from local law enforcement agencies working in districts in 2015. The state current distributed funds toward officers in high schools. A school resource officer currently only needs to be a sworn law enforcement officer to take on the job. Although most police and sheriff departments send those officers to get specialized training ordered by the North Carolina Justice Academy, the subcommittee wants to mandate that school resource officers complete both initial training and continuing education programs based on state standards. All right, there you go on school officers.
And here's a little article written by our own Myron B. Pitts. The caption of his article is, "Dubious Dealings Are Not New for Tyrone Williams." Long before City Councilman Tyrone Williams became the man against the city of Fayetteville, he took a couple of people for a ride. "Tyrone Williams is a crook," said Tim Allen in a Fayetteville Observer story on Wednesday about his business dealings with Williams. Maurice Miller, who partnered with Williams on a house, said, "I have been losing since day one, and it's not right, and that's the bottom line. It's wrong." Tim Allen has known Tyrone Williams, a fellow veteran, since middle school. But he said Williams made a big mess of the project he had been hired to do, which was to build Tim Allen's dream home. A Superior Court ruled in 2007 that City Councilman Tyrone Williams owed Allen $538,000 in damages. Tim Allen said he has not seen one red cent from that whole thing, that whole ruling. "If he wants to serve the people," he told our reporter, "start by paying me my money back." Miller said he and Williams went in on a house together in the mid-2000s, in part to use as collateral to fund other business interests. "The deed is in Miller's name. The loan is in Williams' name, but Miller is the only one doing any paying, according to him." And that's Maurice Miller. The public first got its pungent whiff of how Tyrone Williams operated last month when secretly recorded audio surfaced of him trying to get $15,000 from the developer of the former Prince Charles Hotel. The councilman claimed there was a cloud on the title. Instead, it was a minor detail that would that would not have stood in any way of a project by Prince Charles Holdings to invest $65 million downtown next to a future baseball stadium. Tyrone Williams also claimed in the meeting with a Prince Charles official and another man that he was owed $100,000 from a previous owner of the hotel. A bankruptcy court ruled in 2013 that he wasn't owed anything. But just to put two images in your head for a sec, a man who falsely claims that he is owed $100,000 is the same man who in actual fact owes $500,000 to someone else. I think that shows the gall of what we're dealing with here. Tim Allen told a reporter he saw Williams about town and the councilman told him they would bury the hatchet. Tim Allen also cussed him out. He must be a Christian because I know some folks who have gone further than that over being stiffed $500,000. Tyrone Williams, pay the man. People have to ask me how I think this thing will end. Well, I believe the council is going to vote to remove their colleague, Tyrone Williams, for his unethical actions related to the Prince Charles Holdings. The process is called a motion, which will take some time. Meanwhile, I, Myron Pitts, think that Tyrone Williams, who represent District 2, which includes downtown, will continue to try to gum up the works related to the multi-million-dollar baseball project. At some point, I expect his lawyer, Chris Popp, or some lawyer in the future, will instigate a legal action on his behalf. Tyrone Williams wants to vote on baseball-related projects, including the Prince Charles development. He is trying to reverse a recusal that he himself initiated because of a conflict of interest. The council has barred him from those votes on the rational belief that a conflict still exists. Pop, the lawyer, has said his client is looking at legal options. Tyrone Williams may appeal his eventual removal, but if that fails, he may also legally challenge the action. We don't know his mind. He does not talk to the press. But as I tell people, Tyrone Williams will go all the way and to heck with the city or its best interest. And I, Myron Pitts, I have seen his kind of politician. He's out for himself. Everyone should bear in mind that even if he is removed later this year, he can run for the same seat next year. You wouldn't think he'd have the nerve to seek office again. But see what I wrote about gall above. One question a few of us have had is whether and how Williams is paying his lawyer, Pop. Pop told me on Wednesday that the matter is between him and his client. I think that's an inappropriate question for a news organization to ask. Well, my land, I'm just a curious person, Mr. Attorney. He added that he had a problem with some of the newspaper's coverage of Tyrone Williams, councilman. He says, for example, that there were other parties also sued for the money owed to Tim Allen, including the general contractor. He said that the judgment for the $500,000 has expired. The judgment did expire in October, something noted in the online but not printed version of the news story. And Tim Allen is looking at his legal options to see if he can get it reinstated. Meanwhile, some might ask why the lawyer, Pop, would work for free. Well, that's easy. It's a high-profile case. And Pop's name has been in the local news for more this year than any other since the year 2010, when he was part of the team that defended convicted murderer Tim Hennis. But if the man against the city is indeed paying for these legal services, I'd recommend Pop's firm set up an automatic bank draft. They may not see their dough otherwise, and that my friend, is for real. If you would like to discuss this article about Councilman Tyrone Williams and all that mess, you can call Myron Pitts at 910-486-3559. The time now is 10:30 in the morning, and I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University. And our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600. Our toll-free number is 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
All right, Clark. Now we're speaking about the teachers right now. All right, North Carolina teachers, Cumberland County teachers, no issues expected with the teachers' rally. While school districts across the state are planning for significant teacher absences during a rally that's happening in Raleigh later this month, Cumberland County schools officials have said they plan to remain open and operating. Since May 16th is a student day, any teacher missing work to attend the rally would have to take a personal leave day, said Ruben Reyes, Associate Superintendent for the school system. As a district, we frequently monitor teacher leave requests to ensure that we have substitutes available to supervise our students. Based on our most recent review of the personal leave requests submitted for May 16th, we do not anticipate an issue with substitute availability. According to a story posted online Tuesday morning by the Raleigh News and Observer, Durham is considering closing schools that day because of teacher absences. It estimates about 41%, or nearly 1,000 teachers, have requested personal leave. Other systems, such as the Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, are trying to get a tally of absences in advance and then make plans to send substitutes and top administrators to teach classes. Wake County, the N&O story says, is not seeing a large number of educators requesting the day off. The march is planned in coordination with the opening of the General Assembly and the final month of school. The March for Students and Rally for Respect is playing out in the context of recent Red for Ed teacher walkouts and strikes in Arizona, West Virginia, and Kentucky. Sources ranging from the Brookings Institute to Washington Post educator writer Valerie Strauss have flagged North Carolina as one of the next Republican-led states that's ripe for a teacher strike. Leaders of the North Carolina Association of Educators, the N&O, are careful to say their May 16th action is neither a walkout nor a strike. North Carolina is a right-to-work state where teacher strikes are illegal. Did you hear me? Teacher strikes are not legal. However, state law gives teachers the right to take personal leave with at least 5 days advance notice, as long as a substitute is available and the teachers pay a $50 required substitute deduction. So, Mary McRae, chairwoman of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg System Board, said she doesn't consider closing schools this late in the year as an option, but she wants to see teachers participate in the march. She says she has heard the state Senate will release its budget plan May 15th, depending on how public education fares, she said. The rally could be a thank you, not a protest. Okay, good luck, teachers.
And now I would like to remind everyone about the 8th annual Gates for Golf and Country Club Tournament. It's a fundraiser. It's for the blind and the visually impaired. It's the WeReadRadio.org. It's $250 per team or $65 per player. Lunch and dinner, it's provided, and there are free beverage carts out there. It is a $400 value, and first place will be a $500 cash prize. Second place, there will be a Gates for Golf certificate, and if you make a hole-in-one at the designated hole, you will win a brand new Chevrolet car. There's also going to be a special ladies division for the golfers. It's the ladies and men's closest to the pin in long drive competition. And this golf tournament is on the 12th of May, 2018. The 12th of May is Saturday. There's an 11 o'clock registration and a 12 o'clock tee-off. And at 4 p.m. there will be the dining hour. You'll have hamburgers, hot dogs, and of course a pasta bar. And during that particular period of time, there will be an award ceremony. So ladies and gentlemen, please mark your calendars for the 8th annual Gates for Golf and Country Club Tournament on the 12th of May, Saturday, with the registration at 11 o'clock, tea time, 12, and 4 p.m. dining hour.
What's that date again?
That's 12 May 2018, that's Saturday.
Okay. Now, here we go. Fayetteville has earned the top honor from the magazine. This is by Amanda Dolinsinski, and it says that the city of Fayetteville has been named the top overall performer by Governing Magazine in its second annual Equipped to Innovate survey. The initiative is anchored in 7 key characteristics of high-performance government: dynamically planned, broadly pardoned, resident-involved, race-informed, smartly resourced, employee-engaged, and data-driven. In addition to its overall honor, Fayetteville also was tops in the employee-engaged element. The magazine focuses on news and analysis of state and local government, politics, policy, and management. The survey with 74 cities responded nationwide had a participation rate increase of 23% over the inaugural. Mayor Mitch Colvin and Rebecca Jackson, director of the city's Strategic Performance and Analysis, traveled to Los Angeles to attend the Summit on Government Performance and Innovation, hosted by the magazine, and received recognition. Magazine paid for lodging and the summit, while the city paid about $1,100 for flights. It's a great day for the city of Fayetteville, and I am thrilled we were selected as the top performing city overall for 2018, Colvin said. It's pretty neat, isn't it?
Yeah, very neat.
Fayetteville was judged based on our proactive approach and commitment to being inclusive, transparent, and utilizing our citizens' input to develop our policies and priorities. I truly believe Fayetteville is beginning to positively share the national stage, and am excited to be a part of this nationally reconfirmed effort. I'm also honored to lead our top-notch City Council and City staff who helped achieve this success for our city and its residents. Doug Hewitt, the city manager, said he was excited the city was recognized for its efforts. The City Council and senior management team have really embraced the culture of innovation, performance management, collaboration, and strategic planning to better plan and resource our local government, he said. The results of the Equipped to Innovate survey exemplify that we are a well-run city, on the move, and we are humbled to receive this award. Jackson said the city's strategic planning process incorporates feedback from the community, employees, and senior management. Strategic goals for the city are cascaded down through the organization to all city programs and ultimately to individual performance. She said, performance metrics are established, which tier up to the strategic goals and allow the city to gauge its performance. Underperforming programs are analyzed to determine if performance can be improved through increased resource allocations. Process improvement initiates or innovative efforts to completely retool the program. 2016, the city launched a performance application called TrackStat, Transparent Reporting and Analytics for Citizens to provide accountability and transparency into the performance of results. The online tool provides access to the city's key performance indicators, budget, and financial data and staff updates for critical projects. The results are used to enhance policy and management decisions. The city is also developing operational dashboards to ensure proactive monitoring of ongoing trends in an effort to innovate and improve services. The City Council connects with the community for input on performance in several ways, including television, website, social media platforms, and face-to-face interactions during cafe conversation events. The feedback has been used in policy decisions on recent parks and recreation capital projects, funding for additional police officers, and increased resources for economic and business development. Other top cities by element were Las Vegas, dynamically planned, Olathe, Kansas, broadly partnered, Seattle, resident involved, Louisville, Kentucky, race-informed, San Antonio, smartly resourced, and San Diego, data-driven. Now, staff writer Amanda Dolinsky can be reached at adolinsky@fayetteobserver.com, or you can call up Amanda at 486-3528.
And the Special Operations Aviators welcomed the top warrant officer. This was written by Drew Brooks, the military editor for the Fayetteville Observer. The Army's Special Operations Aviation community has a new top warrant officer. Chief Warrant Officer 5, David F. Greenwood, assumed responsibility as the Command Chief Warrant Officer for the United States Army Special Operations Aviation Command on Wednesday. Officials from across Fort Bragg attended the ceremony, which also served as a farewell for the man Greenwood replaced, Chief Warrant Officer 5, Mark A. Meyer. Mark A. Meyer has held the position since 2016. Brigadier General John R. Evans, Jr., the Commanding General of the Army Special Operations Aviation Command, said Meyer did a marvelous job as he continued to shape the position. CW5, Greenwood becomes the organization's 5th Command Chief Warrant Officer, and Brigadier General John Evans, Jr. said he will be tasked with continuing to define the position as the Army continues to carve out a role for the force's technical and tactical experts. The Army is in a constant state of change, and the warrant officer ranks, which are celebrating their 100th anniversary this year, are constantly evolving. Warrant officers are highly skilled technicians who serve in multiple branches and in 67 different specialties throughout the Army. But Evans said their importance to aviation cannot be overestimated, and that is Brigadier General John R. Evans. New lieutenants turn to warrant officers to learn the technical and leadership skills that allow them to be successful. And that's especially true in the Special Operations Aviation Command. We could not do our jobs without them. The Fort Bragg-based command was formed in 2012 and is responsible for synchronizing the Army Special Operations Aviation enterprise to including organizing, manning, training, resourcing, and equipment that command. The command has approximately 3,500 soldiers and more than 220, that's 220, rotary and fixed-wing aircraft, with subordinate units spread out across the country. Its largest subordinate unit is the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, which is based in Kentucky, Fort Campbell, Kentucky, but also has units in Washington State and Georgia. Other subordinate units include the Technology Applications Program Office at Fort Eustis, Virginia, the Special Operations Aviation Training Battalion at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, the Aviation Maintenance Support Office at Fort Campbell, and the Systems Integration Management Office at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Brigadier General Evans said most leaders in the headquarters come up through the 160th. But he said Meyer and Greenwood both took unconventional paths to their positions. Meyer graduated from flight school in 1988, the year the wall fell down in West Berlin. And he has served with units at Fort Bragg, Texas. At Fort Hood, Texas, at Fort Bragg, and in Germany. He has more than 7,000 rotary wing and fixed wing flight hours, including expertise in the UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter and the C-12 Huron twin turboprop plane. More than 2,500 of his flight hours have come in combat or imminent danger situations, officials said, and he has deployed in support of missions in Iraq, Afghanistan, and numerous contingency missions. Warrant Officer Greenwood, meanwhile, graduated from flight school in 1992 and served as an OH-58 Kiowa Warrior pilot at Fort Drum, New York, Fort Hood, Texas, and Schofield Barracks in Hawaii before being selected for assignment to the 160th at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. He served with the 160th until 2015, when he moved to Fort Bragg to serve as Command Chief Warrant Officer for the 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade, or what is commonly referred to as the CAB. He was most recently assigned to the 1st Battalion, 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. General Evans said both men are combat-tested master aviators. CW5 Meyer will next serve as the Command Chief Warrant Officer for the U.S. Army Special Operations Command. In his final address as a member of the Army Special Operations Aviation Command leadership, he thanked the organization for their support and for Brigadier General Evans' trust. CW5 Greenwood said he was humbled to take on the job, and he thanked CW5 Meyer for his work and support. Quote, "I'm joining a great team of professionals," unquote, said CW5 Greenwood. Quote, "Mark, you have left me in a great place," unquote, referring to CW5 Mark Myers. CW5 Myers' departure is the latest leadership change within the Army Special Operations Aviation Command. In February, Command Sergeant Major Billy D. Webb assumed responsibility as a unit senior non-commissioned officer. And Thursday is slated to be the last day for the Evanses, who is the commanding general. His replacement is Colonel Alan Pepin. He is awaiting promotion to brigadier general, and he is expected to assume command next month, which is June. If you have any questions about this article, you may contact Drew Brooks, the military editor, by calling him at 910-486-3567.
All right. Have you ever heard of J. Cole?
Yeah, I think he's like, is he a rapper or something like that?
Here's a picture of him right here
Yeah.
on page A4.
What does he look like?
Here. Okay, he looks like the young man that you need to go hear. Roger Mullen, amid the excitement following the announcement last week that J. Cole's inaugural Dream Field Festival will be held September 15th in Raleigh's Dorothea Dix Park, some people have raised a question: why not Fayetteville? After all, Cole grew up here and graduated from Terry Sanford High School. The title of one of his albums, 2014 Forest Hills Drive, references the Fayetteville address where he spent some of his formative years. And Cole's sold-out 2015 show at the Crown Coliseum was a huge hit, featuring guest appearances by Jay-Z and Drake, and recorded for an HBO special, J. Cole Forest Hills Drive, Homecoming. Plus, Cole has stayed connected to his hometown through his Dreamville Foundation, which provides school supplies to local children and does other charitable work. Some fans took to social media with their questions about the festival's locale. Why didn't he just do the Dogwood Festival, one person wrote on the Fayetteville Observer's Facebook page. That would have been nice. I wonder why he doesn't do more shows in Fayetteville, another wrote. He's a Terry Sanford graduate.
He is?
Yep.
Hey.
According to Cole's Dreamville team, Fayetteville was under consideration, but Raleigh was chosen. Okay, the opportunity to do something new and exciting at Raleigh's new city park was tough to overlook, especially with Mayor Nancy McFarland and her staff ordering tremendous support from day one, statement read. Plus, with Raleigh being the capital of the state, it also provides a centralized location with strong infrastructure and ample options for transportation to and from the city, all of which we hope will ultimately help to provide more residents from North Carolina and across the country greater access to attend and experience the inaugural Dreamville Festival, statement read. Statement said the festival was for all North Carolina, said a full lineup and more details would be released in coming weeks. Money said no matter where the festival is held, it should be cause for celebration. I think whether the show is here or Raleigh or Timbuktu, I think Fayetteville should celebrate J. Cole, Money said. He's put Fayetteville on the map. I think it's something everyone in Fayetteville should celebrate. I think it's going to be a fantastic show. And staff writer Roger Mullen, you can reach him at mmullen@fayobserver.com, or you can call Roger at 486-3561.
And here's a little item of interest. Keep our schools safe. State lawmakers this week are looking at legislation that will add money and training for police officers assigned to the North Carolina school system. They are also considering legislation that will fund more building vulnerability reviews. As we live in fear of more school shootings, these measures should find strong bipartisan support. The school security legislation is likely to be considered in the General Assembly's short session, which begins later this month. The proposals may be joined by other measures that would add school counselors, add school nurses, add social workers, and add psychologists. It's preventative medicine that's clearly in order for our school systems here in North Carolina. Those are positions that have been steadily cut since the recession, and most of our schools are not adequately staffed with professionals who can spot and deal with troubled students. All of these measures, of course, will cost money. So will the efforts to raise teacher pay, which despite the spin of legislative leaders still languishes in the bottom quarter of teacher salary scales in the country. The good news is that we are in no danger of being dead last in teacher pay. But the bad news is that we are still too close to the bottom of the barrel when it comes to teacher pay. North Carolina teacher pay was once at the national median, and we need to get back there if we plan to continue attracting top-notch companies to our state. In safer schools, we have no other choice but to have them.
All right. And on our opinion from the Observer editorials, and you know, when we're riding our bikes, remember a couple of houses we've seen that were hit by the Hurricane Matthew and they're still not repaired?
We've seen that.
We have, haven't we?
We have been witness to that.
Well, the Observer editorial, Hurricane Matthew has lingered too long. It's been 10 months since Hurricane Matthew slammed into North Carolina and dropped record-setting rainfall that caused record-setting flooding. Cumberland and Robeson counties were among the worst hit in the state, and people are still recovering and rebuilding. The storm hit nearly 19 months ago, so why are we still looking at such extensive reconstruction and repair? As we move rapidly toward Matthew's 2-year anniversary, shouldn't we be close to wrapping up the recovery effort? At the very least, shouldn't repairs to public roads and dams be completed by now? What is the holdup? Those were some of the questions members of a legislative panel that monitors Matthew relief had for the state's emergency management director, Mike Sprayberry, last week. The House Committee's members weren't happy with stories they were hearing about the slow delivery of aid to homeowners, business, and municipalities. They're hearing worrisome stories from their constituents who are still struggling to complete repairs, people who are forced to pay a mortgage bill and rent while their houses remain unlivable. I'm mad. I'm upset, and we can do better, said Representative John Bell, the Wayne County Republican who chairs the committee. We've got to fix this. It's not about who's wrong or right. It's not about pointing figures. It's not about a blame game. These are real people with real lives. I am just tired of excuses. More than $630 million in federal and state funds have already been spent on recovery efforts. But that's a pittance compared with the $4.8 billion in damage that Matthew caused, especially since so few of the structures damaged were covered by flood insurance. Because until Matthew, many of them weren't considered to be in flood zones.
That's terrible, isn't it?
It is terrible.
Unbelievable. The time now is 11 o'clock in the morning. It's Thursday. It's the 3rd of May. It's 2018. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service, a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
Okay, let's go to our obituary section for Thursday, May 3rd, 2018, from the Fayetteville Observer. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Winfred Worthy, age 62, of Spring Lake, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Marvin Lowell Meekins, age 63, of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Dorothy L. Smith, age 89, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Donald J. Williams, 89, of Eastover, Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Alice Gaddy, age 72, of Fayetteville, Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Stevenson D. Roundtree, age 62, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Ruby Evans, age 67, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Quentin C. Stevens, age 28, of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Moving to the Cape Fear region, Wanda Wilkins, age 73, of Red Springs, Thompson's Funeral Home. Robert Devane Deese, age 69, of Maxton, Richard Bowles Funeral Service. Diane Michelle Smith, of Pembroke, Thompson's Funeral Home. Roger Ashley Dickerson, age 90, of Fair Bluff, Mears Funeral Home. Jonathan Reagan, age 57, of Rayford, Bowie Funeral Home. Jean Marshall Hart Sr., of Garland, Carter Funeral Home. Beatrice Mason, age 93, of Laurenburg, Morris Funeral Home. Our funerals for today: Donald Bullock, age 72, of Fayetteville, 11 a.m., Salem United Methodist Church. The burial will be at Salem United Methodist Church Cemetery, Rogers and Breese Funeral Home. Robert Savage, Jr., age 84, of Council, 4 p.m., the Lisbon Baptist Church. Burial at Mount Horeb Cemetery, Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home in Elizabethtown. Rokowski Mary, age 82, of Spring Lake, 11 a.m., Graveside, Main Post Chapel, Fort Bragg. Burial, Main Post Cemetery, Fort Bragg. Adcock Funeral Home. Glockner Julius, Jr., age 78, of Rayford, 1 p.m., the Crumpler Funeral Home in Rayford. The burial will be at Pine Lawn Memorial Park, Southern Pines, Crumpler Funeral Home in Rayford. Ida Stocks, age 67, of Fayetteville, 11 a.m., Wiseman Mortuary Chapel. Burial in McLaughlin Chapel Cemetery, Rayford, Wiseman Mortuary. Gary McDonald, age 85, of Greenville, 11:30 a.m., will be the burial in Lafayette Memorial Park, Sullivan Highland Funeral Service and Crematory in Fayetteville. Barbara Gollison, age 70, of Woodbury, New York. 1 p.m. graveside, burial, Beth Israel Cemetery, Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. And Corey Bell Sr., age 71, of Dunn, 1 p.m. Shiloh Baptist Church, burial, McKinnon Cemetery, Colvin Funeral Home, crematory. Going to Cumberland County, Brenda J. Hickman from Eastover, age 51, died Tuesday, May 1st, 2018, at her residence. A graveside service will be held on Friday, May 4th, 2018, at 11:30 a.m. at Old Bluff Cemetery, with the Reverend Meg Dudley officiating. The family will receive friends from 10 to 11 a.m. prior to the service Friday at Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. Demetrius Antoine McMillan, age 31, of Fayetteville, died Monday, April 23rd, 2018. Wiseman Mortuary. Charles William Gibbons, age 63, passed away quietly at his home in Fayetteville Sunday, April 29th, 2018. Services are entrusted to Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Jane Frances Stewart, age 85, of Fayetteville, died Sunday, April 29th, 2018. The funeral will be Saturday, 11 a.m., St. Paul's in the Pines Episcopal Church. Cumberland Memorial Gardens, the Sullivan Highland Funeral Service and Crematory. Michael Bailey, Hope Mills, Michael, age 46, died Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. Pine Crest Funeral and Cremation Services of Hope Mills. DeMarco A.J. McCarran, age 20, of Fayetteville, died Thursday, April 26, 2018. Norman Whithead Funeral Directed Licensee. Phyllis W. High-Knight from Fayetteville. Phyllis High-Knight, Adcock Funeral Home of Spring Lake, is entrusted with the services and arrangements. Edward S. Oxendine Jr., age 24, of Fayetteville, died Monday, April 30th, 2018. Arrangements are by Jernigan Warren Funeral Home. William Morrison Jr., age 89, of Fayetteville, died Tuesday, May 1st, 2018. Cunningham and Sons Mortuary. Eldris Berlin Smith from Godwin. Eldris Berlin Smith, 97, of Godwin, died Friday, April 27th, 2018. Herring Funeral Care and Cremations. Anita Johnson, age 91, of Fayetteville, died Saturday, April 28th, 2018. Unity Funeral Services, Fayetteville.
And obituaries in the region and elsewhere. R. Vincent Vince McBride Jr., age 76, of Goshen, passed away peacefully on Thursday, 26 April 2018. The family would like to extend a special thank you to Mark Tucker from Heartland Hospice for all of his loving care he gave to Vince. A gathering of friends and family for Vince will be held on Saturday, 23 June 2018 at 1 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall at the First Presbyterian Church located at 102 Ann Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. Sandra Brown Spate, age 76, of Newport, North Carolina, died Saturday, 28 April 2018. The memorial will be on Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Sullivan Highland Funeral Service. The visitation will be at the Sullivan Highland Funeral Service on Sunday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And the burial will be at the Cross Creek Cemetery, number 3. Sullivan's Highland Funeral Service and Crematory Incorporated of Fayetteville, North Carolina, has been entrusted with the funeral services. K. Fish Toombs, age 67, of Prince George, Virginia, passed away on Monday, 30 April 2018. A funeral service will be held at 11 a.m. on Friday, 4 May 2018, at the Petersburg Chapel of J.T. Morris and Son Funeral Home, with the Reverend Robert Livesey officiating. Entombment will follow in South Lawn Memorial Park, Prince George, Virginia. The family will receive friends from 6 to 8 p.m. on Thursday, 3 May 2018, at the funeral home. In lieu of flowers, contributions may be made to the K.F. Toombs Memorial Fund, located at 2703 S or South Crater Road, Petersburg, Virginia 23805, which will benefit the Infant Intervention Program at District 19 that was so dear to her heart. Condolences may be registered at www.jtmorris.com. Barbara Leslie Glazier Gallison, age 70, of Woodbury, New York, passed away on Sunday, 29 April 2018, at the home. Funeral services will take place on Thursday, 3 May 2018, at 1 p.m. at the Beth Israel Cemetery, located at Ann Street in Fayetteville, North Carolina, with the Rabbi Eve Eichenholz presiding. The family will receive friends after the service and again that evening at 7 p.m. in the home of Lisa and Rick Glazier for a short service. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to the North Carolina Justice Center in Raleigh or the Fayetteville Animal Protection Society, FAPS. Services have been entrusted to the Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Jeffrey Wayne Smith passed away 28 April 2018 at the age of 66. A memorial service is scheduled for 5 p.m. on Saturday, 5 May, at the Brown Wynn Funeral Home in Cary, North Carolina. Condolences may be sent at www.brownwynncary.com. That's www.brownwynncary.com. Anthony Carl Royal, Sr., age 56, of 292 Dusty Road in Clinton, died Saturday, 28 April 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 1 p.m. at the Running Branch Disciples Church in Clinton. The viewing will be at the Worley Funeral Home on Thursday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial will be at the Running Branch Church Cemetery. The Worley Funeral Home of Clinton has been entrusted with the funeral services. Emily Owen, age 83, of Clarkton, died Tuesday, 1 May 2018. There will be a graveside service on Friday at 11 a.m. at the Clarkton Cemetery. The visitation will be in the home of Miss Emily Owen on Thursday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. The Bladen Gaskins Funeral Home has been entrusted with those funeral services. And this concludes the obituaries for today, 3 May 2018, Thursday.
Okay, and we're going to go to Billy Graham. Pray for our leaders, nation, and world on National Day of Prayer. Today is the National Day of Prayer for everyone. From the writings of the Reverend Billy Graham. Question. The question is from S. McD. I don't see any hope for our nation. We've gotten so far away from God that He's given up on us. That's what happened in Old Testament times, wasn't it? Answer. Today is the annual National Day of Prayer in the United States. And if ever we needed to pray for our nation and our world, it is now. Yes, in many ways we have drifted away from God, but it will only get worse if we neglect to pray and ask God to intervene. You're right, from time to time God's people in the Old Testament turned their backs on God and refused to follow His ways. Instead of putting God first and caring for others, they followed false gods and lived only for themselves. Repeatedly God warned them, and sometimes they heeded His warnings and they returned to Him. But often they didn't, and eventually God had no choice but to bring judgment upon them. Could this happen to us? The Bible warns you may be sure that your sin will find you out. And that's from the book of Numbers, chapter 32, verse 23. But listen, God didn't abandon them, even if they passed through the fires of judgment. Afterward, they experienced God's blessing when they repented and turned back to Him. Never forget, the Bible is a book of hope. Hope in God's love, hope in Jesus' return, hope in the Holy Spirit's power to change lives, hope for eternity because of Christ's death and resurrection. Are you praying for our nation and our world, that God will turn to us to Himself? And are you praying for our leaders, even those with whom you disagree? God's command is clear. I urge, then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings, and for all those in authority. That is from the first book of Timothy, chapter 2, verses 1 and 2, from the Tribune Content Agency.
And now we have Dear Abby, and a little humor today. The wife is annoyed that the husband answers his call of nature outside the home. Dear Abby, we moved finally to the country, but we are not really far out of town. My educated, urbane, professional husband, who has always lived his entire life in the city, now bypasses our 2.5 bathrooms and relieves himself outdoors in a king of all surveys pose. We no longer have children living at home, and he refrains from doing it when we have company or there's any possibility of his being seen. But this particular habit is driving me crazy. Could I be jealous maybe because I am a female and have to squat? Or should I join him? Is it truly as unsanitary as to urinating outside as it seems? And may I ask you, Abby, is this the first you've ever heard of such a thing? Signed, Tempted in California. That's hard for me to believe that that's happening in California. They are So liberal out there. Dear Tempted, in California, public urination is against the law in most communities because of sanitation, as well as indecent exposure issues. That said, however, this practice is not as unusual as you may believe. If you want to try it, I cannot stop you at all from the desk of my office. But I do suggest that you bring some sort of tissue and plan ahead for a place to dispose of your tissue. As to whether your letter is a first, the answer is no. The topic arose about 20 years ago when the wizard's wife wrote to me about her husband doing it in the dark and occasionally in the side yard during the daylight hours. And she was wondering if it was a normal male ritual. And I replied, this is not a subject that's often discussed in social circles, but I suspect the practice is not unusual. Dogs and cats urinate to mark their territory, and I suppose many animals, wild animals, do that also. Your husband may be doing it for the same reason, to mark his property. For pets, the problem can be resolved by neutering, but I don't think you want to neuter your husband. However, I would not recommend that for your husband, as stated earlier. The Los Angeles Police Department informs me that it is not illegal as long as your husband does not urinate in the public. I then suggested that she check with the police in her city to be sure there are no ordinances against public urination. When people ask me what some of my favorite letters are, I tell them the correspondence generated by the wizard's wife letter ranks among the best. Here's a sample following. Dear Abby, though a frequent reader after my wife, I've only now found reason to write to you in response to the lady who feared that her husband's habit of urinating on their lawn was inappropriate. So it may be, but all men pee outdoors. My best to you and continued good luck with your column, Abby. Signed, Charlton Heston of Beverly Hills, California. Dear Charlton, not Charleston, but Charlton. See, they tried to trick us.
They did.
Yes, this particular fella tried to make us think it was Charleston Heston, you know, the famous actor. Anyway, here, dear Charlton Heston of Beverly Hills, California. Thank you for the input. Your letter is but a drop in the bucket compared to the deluge that has flooded my office since I printed that letter. Dear Abby, my husband did the same thing over and over, even though I vigorously objected to it, but he also did it after dark. When we moved to our new home, we had a wooden fence built, and I decided to teach him a lesson and do the same. He was shocked. He told me I had better not squat on the lawn again, as I told him as long as he continued to urinate, I would squat. Abby, he has not urinated publicly outside in our backyard since. Sometimes, when they won't listen, you just have to show them. Signed, the happy wife in Forney, Texas.
Oh my goodness.
And finally, the last Dear Abby on this subject of a husband urinating in the backyard. Dear Abby, I strongly disagree with your answer to wizard's wife. You said you suspect the practice is not unusual. My husband does not do it, and my ex didn't except when he was drunk. And I've never seen my neighbors do it. My husband says the guy is an exhibitionist, and I say that he is lazy and ignorant. However, I once knew a psychiatrist who confessed to occasionally watering his rubber tree in his outer office in this manner. I cannot imagine why my psychiatrist would do something like this, unless it was to coax me into sharing my personal secrets with him. Signed, Arizona Annie. Dear Arizona Annie. I cannot imagine why your psychiatrist urinated on his rubber tree in his office. It would certainly discourage a patient from using the chair closest to that plant.
Oh, come on.
Yes, this has been a very humorous Abby section that we've had today, isn't it, Nancy?
I'm telling you, I'm about to roar.
I am too. But anyway, I'd like to say that if you want to write to Abby, you can do so by writing Abby, Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
And now we need some advice from the horoscope after that one. What does Stella Wilder give us today? If you're born today, you are not always what you seem to be. You are a very consistent individual with a steady demeanor and principles that are virtually unsalable. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. You must not vacillate today. You must be willing to stick to your guns and challenge anyone who would challenge you. My goodness. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. A certain task may require a little extra effort, but you are able to give it, and then some. Indeed, this may prove a banner day for you. Cancer, June 21st through July 22nd. While the insults are flying, you'll want to steer clear. You must not get yourself mixed up in anything so pointless at this time. Leo, July 23rd to August 22nd. You may not understand someone else's approach, Leo, but you can appreciate that he or she is doing what can be done. It's time to join forces, perhaps. Virgo, August 23rd to September 22nd. Now, Virgo, you've been missing something that once found will provide quite important to you. A friend has words for you, and you may be surprised. Libra, September 23rd to October 22nd. Libra, you cannot do it all yourself, and nor should you. Today, you must be patient while you allow others to do their jobs as assigned. And Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. Scorpio, it's a good time for you to show someone else how it's done, and you can do so without seeming to be cocky or fishing for praise. Sagittarius, November 22nd through December 21st. Saggy, you must realize that if you are new on the scene, you're not likely to be given every opportunity. You're going to have to wait your turn. And Capricorn, December 22nd through January 19th. Capri, you can try something that you've not tried before, but you mustn't expect to be successful the first time. You must put in some practice. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. Aquarius, it's never too late to do your best. And today the climate is just right for you and those who wish to join forces with you. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Pisces, you must be honest in your assessment of your work right now. Any self-deception can only work against you, now as always. And finally, Aries, March 21st through April 19th. Aries, a difference of opinion must not be allowed to slow or stop the progress you are making. You must be willing to compromise. And that's the horoscope by Wiley.
The time now is 11:30 in the morning. It's Thursday. It's the 3rd of May, 2018. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services, And when making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
This is very interesting. Tillis, GOP named in data mining complaint from the Associated Press. North Carolina Democratic Party filed a formal complaint Wednesday against U.S. Senator Tom Tillis and the state Republican Party overwork performed by Cambridge Analytica. Cambridge Analytica is the British-based firm that ex-employees allege vacuumed up data from tens of millions of Facebook users to influence the 2016 presidential race for Donald Trump. The firm, which announced later Wednesday that it's declaring bankruptcy and shutting down, also was paid by the Tillis campaign and the state GOP for work in the 2014 elections, according to campaign finance reports. State Democrats allege in their Federal Election Commission complaint that Tillis' campaign and the state Republican Party violated the law because Cambridge Analytical employees were foreign nationals who helped make key campaign decisions. Cambridge's website says the company's unique data-rich voter file was used to build high-tech profiles for all North Carolina voters and increase the turnout, helping Tillis unseat Democratic Senator Kay Hagan. The complaint also accuses the Tillis campaign and the state GOP of receiving illegal contributions from a super PAC led by John Bolton, now Trump's national security advisor, that also used Cambridge Analytical in pro-Tillis campaign activity. The Bolton PAC spent nearly $1.4 million backing Tillis in the race, according to the Center for Responsive Politics.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again. It is Tongue Twister time, brought to you by the People's Pharmacy, written by Joe and Teresa Graydon. Caption of this entire People's Pharmacy today is low-dose lithium conquered the reader's chronic fatigue. Question for Joe and Teresa Graydon. I read about how low-dose lithium a few months ago. I read about how low-dose lithium a few months ago. Now that first sentence doesn't make any sense. The article said that it might help prevent dementia and improve your memory, and that is the low-dose lithium. So, being an old fart with the usual forgetting of where I am, I put things and all that, I started taking low-dose lithium at 5 milligrams a day. To my amazement, after just a few days, I found myself free of the chronic fatigue that had plagued me for more than a year after I had shingles. I haven't seen this kind of result mentioned in any other articles that I have found about low-dose lithium. I thought I was going to have to live the rest of my life at 25% energy, so it feels like the lithium low-dose saved my life, or the 75% of it anyway. Answer. Your story is intriguing. There is a new theory about chronic fatigue syndrome. Immune cells may become impaired after an infection, after childbirth, or after a trauma. Calcium channels that normally increase in number drop instead. While it is not clear how low-dose lithium might affect fatigue, basic research shows that it does change how some brain cells handle calcium. Researchers believe this may help explain how lithium works for people with bipolar disorder, but it also might tie into your experience. The article you read about dementia might have been a study showing that in Denmark, people are less likely to develop dementia if their drinking water contains more lithium. We hope that further research will clarify this connection. Please make sure your doctor knows that you are taking low-dose lithium. You should also ask to have your kidney and thyroid function monitored periodically, since at high doses, lithium can harm your kidney and thyroid. Question: does Celebrex need to be taken every day to work? Can you take it as you would take ibuprofen, meaning as needed when you are experiencing pain? I have gotten conflicting answers from my doctor and my pharmacist about Celebrex. One says that Celebrex needs to build up in your system via the daily dose to be effective. The other says to take it only when you are hurting. I don't want to take such a powerful drug daily if it is not necessary. Celebrex can be used for acute pain, such as after an accident or surgery. The analgesic effect usually kicks in within an hour. For people with osteoarthritis pain, the recommended dose is either 100 milligrams twice a day or 200 milligrams once a day. While we see no reason why you could not take Celebrex when you experience pain, this approach might reduce the risk of side effects. Question: the instructions for my home blood pressure machine make it clear that you should be sitting for at least 5 minutes with your arm at just below heart height. In the doctor's office, you hop off the scale, climb on a stool, and you seat yourself with your legs dangling. Then in comes the nurse. She takes your blood pressure with your arm hanging down nowhere near the level of your heart. Now, how can that be accurate? We too have been shocked to observe how often blood pressure measurements in the clinic are performed incorrectly. As a result, home blood pressure readings may be more reliable, and they also may lead to better blood pressure control. For more information on the proper technique for measurement, as well as strategies for controlling blood pressure, we offer our Guide to Blood Pressure Treatment. Anyone who would like a copy, please send $3 in check or money order, along with a number 10 stamped self-addressed envelope to Graydon's People Pharmacy, number B-67, Post Office Box 52027, Durham, North Carolina 27717-2027. Now, if you don't want to do it that way and spend 71 cents on that number 10 stamped envelope, you may do so by downloading it online for just below low price of $2 at www.peoplespharmacy.com.
Clark, how'd you like to build your own house from a kit you can buy?
Ooh, a do-it-yourself kit?
A do-it-yourself kit.
Well, I bet you have to have the city inspectors come by like every week to check to see if you're doing it right?
Oh, I would think so.
Yeah, well, that's what happens here in this little city.
Well, this is about building confidence.
Tell us about it.
All right, this is by Hal Brundrick, CFP, from nerdwallet.com.
Nerdwallet.com.
Yeah.
One of my favorite websites.
I wanted to build something, Jennifer Buck says. So she's building a 2-story, 2,000 square foot home in Sharon, Connecticut from a kit. I'm going to be 48 years old. Before I get any older, I'm doing it, she said, though Buck admits to one important weakness. I'm awful at measuring. You would think there'd be a dual breaker, she mentions with a laugh. Apparently not. Half the cost. Buck's project is a sizable 2-story house. Dave Kimball of New Hampshire-based Shelter Kit, which sold Buck her home, says most of the kits his company sells are custom designed. It's not a one-size-fits-all business. We do a lot of the larger buildings, but are working on several 16 feet by 24 feet cabins at this time, Kimball said. This size seems to vary year by year. Buck says her motivation, other than a creative outlet, as she recalls it, was having an affordable home. Average wage earners couldn't afford a median-priced home in 68% of 446 U.S. counties analyzed in an ATOM data report released in late March. The counties included in the study represent nearly 70% of the U.S. population. Labor costs are one reason why. Though Buck wanted a simple design, contractors were submitting quotes of $400,000, she says. Buck's DIY home in a box, built on 3 acres she's owned for years, is nearly completed and will cost about half that when all is said and done. And that includes a new septic system that alone costs $25,000. Kimball says Shelter Kit homes qualify for financing by a typical mortgage lender. However, home kit plans and providers vary widely, with prices ranging from $20 per square foot to more than $400. Lender enthusiasm for financing may vary as well. The OMG moment, when 2 18-wheeler flatbed trailers delivered 30 pallets of building materials and a 35-page step-by-step instruction manual.
Wow.
Buck had here, oh my gee moment. There's a house on my lawn, she thought. I just have to put it together. So Buck took a hiatus from her full-time marketing job and jumped in. Each piece of the kit was numbered, cut to the proper length, and the kit included everything she needed, even nails. She had spent nearly all of 6 months building the house, almost completely on her own. Her brother Kyle, a carpenter, thankfully helps on Sunday. Buck contracted out the construction of the foundation, but built the first floor decking and walls herself. She estimates there's about a month's worth of work remaining. I'd do it over again 5 times, she says. More women should do it. They shouldn't be intimidated. She concedes there were setbacks. The one time when something was off, it turned out that I had measured it wrong. So build your house out of a box.
Wow. That's unbelievable.
It is.
She didn't mention anything about building inspectors coming by.
She didn't.
She didn't mention anything about plumbing or electricity. So that's an interesting little article-ette. But interesting indeed. And here's something that might interest you. The 2 black men that were arrested at the Starbucks store in Philadelphia reach a settlement. This was written by Aaron Haynes Wack of the Associated Press. Philadelphia. 2 black men that were arrested for sitting at a Philadelphia Starbucks without ordering anything settled today with the world's biggest coffee shop chain Wednesday for an undisclosed sum and an offer for a free college education. Maybe you and I should go in there and sit at Starbucks and not order anything.
I'm serious.
Maybe we can get a free education from the CEO.
Is that true?
Well, I'm reading it. Let me finish. Separately, they reached a deal with the city for a symbolic $1 each and a promise from officials to set up a $200,000 program for young entrepreneurs. The men portrayed the twin settlements as an effort to make sure something positive came out of the 12 April incident, which touched off a furor around the United States of America over racial profiling. We thought long and hard about it, and we feel like this is the best way to see that change that we want to see, said Dante Robinson, one of those arrested. It's not a right now thing. That's good for right now, but I feel like we will see the true change of things over time. Business partners Robinson and Rashon Nelson, both age 23, were led away in handcuffs, and they were accused of trespassing last month after the manager of a Starbucks in the city's well-to-do Rittenhouse Square neighborhood called the police, saying that the men refused to buy anything or they refused to leave. After spending hours in jail, they were released and no charges were filed. The men said they were there waiting for a meeting with a third man about a potential real estate opportunity. This incident proved a major embarrassment for Starbucks, which has long projected an image as a socially conscious company, a place to like, hey man, let's hang out. On Wednesday, Starbucks announced it reached a financial settlement with those two gentlemen. The amount was not disclosed. The company said they will also be given the opportunity to complete their bachelor's degrees with their tuition fully paid for through a Starbucks partnership with Arizona State University. The online college education program was created in 2014 for all Starbucks employees. Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
That CEO and everybody else that ever goes to Starbucks, it is supposed to be a place to hang out.
Yep.
Regardless if you buy coffee or not.
That's right.
So, that's a good deal, but maybe we should sit there and we can get a free education.
All right. Now, do flies bother you, Clark?
Flies? Nobody likes flies.
Yeah,
Why? What are you talking about? You mean flying in an airplane?
No.
The insect flies.
All right, if they do, here, try this. Shoo fly, don't bother me. Keep flies away by keeping up on the housework. Flies are attracted to garbage and animal feces, so keep a clean kitchen, especially the sink, as they may try to breed in the drain. Take the garbage out and stay on top of the kitty litter box. Number 2, keeping your yard spick and span. Decaying plants and produce are a great way to attract flies, and standing pools of water are great places for flies to breed. 3, listen to this, Clark, grow a basil plant.
Basil plant?
Like the spice basil?
Grow what? Where do you grow it?
In a garden. It wards off flies.
It does?
So do cinnamon and clove plants.
Did we buy a basil plant?
We do. We have one in our garden.
Right there by our table that we sit out and eat hamburgers during the summer. No wonder we don't have any flies.
And number 4, make an anti-fly solution. You ready?
What is it?
3 to 4 fresh cayenne peppers and 3 to 4 cups of water. Spray your garbage cans, your drains, your ceilings, moist areas, or anywhere else that these pesky little guys like to hang out. 5, put a little oscillating fan on your kitchen counter. They won't fly somewhere with so much wind resistance. And grow some insect repelling plants like lavender, geraniums, or eucalyptus.
Interesting.
And I have another little tiny story.
Oh, you do? What do you got?
The power of art from a nifty new product. Our phone cases define us. Now, our charging device can speak to our individuality as well. Carved offers numerous designs of its fully capable wood-powered bank with a fast-charging 2.1 amp output. Capacity is 6,000 mAh, which means there's enough to charge a smartphone about twice before the charger needs more juice. Each bank is made of reconstituted ebony on the back with carvings and inlays on the front. Various design talent is expressed in more than 50 styles, from a grand Teton mountain scene to a regional phoenix to one aptly named New Zealand Pauna shell. Plus there's a way to upload one's own art and create a one-of-a-kind wood-powered bank. Wow, that's amazing, right? $65 per design for your phone charger.
For your phone? Well, that's great. Good. But I'd like to share with you a good tip. And it says that not all yogurt is created equally. Yogurt lovers should take notice. There are products in the marketplace that take advantage of yogurt's healthful image, but that do not contain the things that make yogurt yogurt. Candies, raisins, pretzels, and yogurt-containing salad dressings are just a few examples. So what makes yogurt the real deal? According to the National Yogurt Association, 3 words: live, active, cultures. These refer to the living organisms Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. I feel like I'm reading the People's Pharmacy again. Which convert pasteurized milk to yogurt during fermentation process. Note that milk is pasteurized before culturing to remove any harmful bacteria. The process is similar to that used when making beer, wine, or cheese, in that beneficial organisms ferment and transform the basic food. To dispel consumer confusion, the NYA, the National Yogurt Association, developed the Live and Active Cultures seal to help consumers readily identify yogurts that contain significant levels of live and active cultures. The National Yogurt Association is a national nonprofit trade organization whose purpose in life is to sponsor health and medical research for yogurt with live and active cultures. It serves as an information source to the trade and for the general public. And this came out of cooking, and it's a good tip. Remember, not all yogurt is created equally.
Okay, and we have tension simmering as the asylum seekers wait at the Mexican border. Going to Tijuana, Mexico, from the Associated Press by Elliot Spagat. Tension between the Mexican government and Central American asylum seekers simmered Wednesday as men, women, and children camped in a large plaza for a 4th straight day, waiting for U.S. inspectors to process their claims. U.S. Customs and Border Protection accepted 28 caravan members for processing at San Diego's San Ysidro crossing by late Tuesday, leaving about 100 to wait at the Mexican entrance under tarps tied to waist-high metal gates to shield them from sporadic rain. Another 20 or so caravan members were allowed to cross a long bridge to a waiting area just outside a building with U.S. inspection booths also protected by tarps. Mexican federal immigration officials and directors of privately run migrant shelters met with organizers at a large conference room table Tuesday night, gently encouraging caravan members to return to shelters for temporary housing. All these people waiting to get in our country, Clark.
Yes, they are.
I'm telling you. In 2016, when U.S. border inspectors in San Diego were overwhelmed by Haitian arrivals, a waiting list created by Mexico's immigration agency surpassed 5 weeks. All those people, Clark.
That's a lot of people. But I'd like to share this with you today. This was written by Ian Shapira of the Washington Post. White supremacist guilty in Charlottesville of assault. One of the white supremacists who viciously beat a black man inside a parking garage during last year's Unite the Right rally was found guilty Tuesday night of malicious wounding. Jacob Scott Goodwin, age 23, who wore a military tactical helmet and brandishing a large shield during the August 12th attack last year against DeAndre Harris, was convicted by a jury of 9 women and 3 men. The assault on DeAndre Harris, age 20, a former special educational instructional assistant, was so ferocious that he suffered a spinal injury, a broken arm, and head lacerations that required 8 staples. Online footage of the beating has been viewed online tens of thousands of times and attracted a group of online sleuths led by Black Lives Matter activist Shaun King. They tracked down the alleged perpetrators' identities, including that of Goodwin. That's Jacob Scott Goodwin, age 23. He lives in Ward, Arkansas. Goodwin was arrested about 2 months after the rally. Jacob Scott Goodwin's attorney, Elmer Fudd Woodard, argued Harris, then working as a YMCA camp counselor, came to pick a fight and that his client was just trying to defend himself. Jacob Scott Goodwin came to exercise free speech, said Mr. Harris. And of course, Mr. Harris is his lawyer. Mr. Harris, he's not the lawyer, let me get this straight here. DeAndre Harris went to abuse free speech, not to exercise it. But abuse it, Woodard said in his opening statement. Woodard is the lawyer. He said it was DeAndre Harris who went after Goodwin. Goodwin went and kicked Harris to the ground to defend himself and other white supremacists in the garage. He gets up with evil in his eyes and charges Mr. Goodwin, Woodard said. And that Woodard is his attorney, Elmer Woodard. But Nina Alice Anthony, an assistant Commonwealth's attorney, said it was actually Jacob Scott Goodwin who wanted to square off with DeAndre Harris. He was outfitted for battle, he being Jacob Scott Goodwin, with a tactical helmet. She told the jury in her opening statement, he's got large goggles and boots, and he's got body shield. Jacob Scott Goodwin also wore 2 pins, one bearing the number 88, which is code for Heil Hitler, and a second pin with the logo for Traditionalist Worker Party, which is a white nationalist group. And I would like to say that this concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
At 2 p.m. you may listen to the Southern Pines Pilot. At 4 p.m. you can hear Off the Bookshelf. Additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. Thank you for tuning us in. We've enjoyed being with you this morning, and have a wonderful day today.